badu, my soul is on fire. Boom boom badu, it's all about desire.
Sawubona Khare Sensei. How was that for some podcast music? Eh? This was my idea. I will tell them to use snippets of all the songs, in fact. Some of them are so good. How? But enough of that. Eh? If you don't mind, let us start the podcast with immediate effect. Eh? Of course. No worries, Mr. D. What is a fan according to you? That's a tricky question. That's a tricky question. It is, Mr. Dlamini. I mean, first of all, I want you to understand that I haven't kept any notes in front of me. Eh? Some people may think that I've kept all these notes in front of me, or I've already written everything down. But please, Mr. Dlamini, you know I'm carrying no notes in front of me, and I'm just gonna speak off the cuff and how Mr. Khare, sorry, I'm supposed to say Khare Sensei. Am I not? You can say anything, Mr. Dlamini. Totally, you can say anything as well. You know what, before we start, I must say that there have been some people who have said that you sound very much like Mr. Smith. Even me, even when I'm talking to you, you are sounding just like Mr. Smith. No, but there is a distinct... I'm not used to this, Mr. Dlamini. Please forgive me. I'm not used to podcasting, you know that. Don't worry. I am used to commentating, so I am okay with this. But I know you, Khare Sensei. You are always behind the camera. You are never coming in front of it. That is true. That is true, Mr. Dlamini. And if you don't mind, you know, my phone might beep. I'm still waiting for 2 confirmations for the session. So, you just carry on. Let it beep. Let it beep boop. Don't worry. Oh, that's fantastic. I like this podcast, man. I'm feeling quite comfortable. That is good. You have to be comfortable for this, because I might ask you some tricky questions. Let's just hope those tricky questions are easily be answerable by me. You seem to be still a little tongue-tied. Well, Mr. Dlamini, can we carry on? How? Yes. We will. Yeah, but we will carry on. We will carry on. What did I have? What is the question? Can you remember? I can't remember the question, Mr. Dlamini. I will see my notes. My notes are. I've got the question. Yeah. What is a fan according to you? And Khare Sensei, yes, can you please, with Mr. Smith, I always had this problem. What's the problem? Because you seem to be just like Mr. Smith. Yes, you told me that before, Mr. Dlamini. Please, carry on. You are getting frustrated, just like Mr. I am wondering if both of you are the same people. No. Really? Do I look like him, Mr. Dlamini? That is true. You don't look much like him, but still. Anyway, let me carry on. What was I saying? You were saying something about me, about how I remember the mic. If you can, please put your mouth as close to the mic as possible, because in the editing, all that Kafandra media used to tell me, it was a problem for editing. If they used to have to increase the volume, decrease the volume when I was speaking, increase the volume when Mr. Smith was speaking, and I hope... because both of you are sounding the same, I hope that this won't happen. You know, I'm just sneaking a look into your computer. You said you were very funny. Sometimes that happens. I just said so in the previous podcast, didn't I? I just said that sometimes, you know, all these accents which I'm learning, which I'm saying, just gets in the way and I sound funny. You are forgiven. You are totally forgiven, mister. It's very difficult for me to remember to say Khare Sensei. I will say Mr. Khare sometimes. I just told you it's okay, Mr. Dlamini. Let us carry on before both of us are cancelled from this Kafandra show. I'm afraid that all these people, they're not commenting. They're not commenting on this show. Many people have not commented on the previous shows as well. And I'm hoping that once they start listening, they will comment. But I'm telling you, after listening to us, we have spent, I'm telling you, 10 seconds on this podcast and the title of it. What was it? What is a fan? And we have spoken, I think, barely 10 seconds. And you know what, Mr. Dlamini? And what is that? You said barely. Where did Swazi say barely? You are right. Sometimes I am also like you. I am also learning accents, and sometimes this happens. Let us forgive each other and let us just carry on. Totally, Mr. Dlamini, totally. You go ahead, Mr. Dlamini. Please ask the question for the third and last time. Okay, let us start. I'm sorry, friends, if we can call you friends. But after this podcast, we will know if the listeners can be friends as well. Hey, Mr. Khare. True. How? You said true, just like Mr. Smith. We hang about so much with each other, Mr. Dlamini. You have to understand how. That is true. Sometimes I say how as well. That is true as well. Okay, I will stop that topic. I will start this topic on what is a fan according to you, Mr. Khare. Okay, a fan. You see, okay, let me describe myself for you. I won't even, I won't include my brother because obviously I don't like, part of me says, I've always said, as I've grown up, that if that person isn't there, he should be able to speak for himself. Although I can obviously speak for him, but Mr. Khare, you are once again digressing. I am sure whatever you say, everyone will understand. Okay. I'll carry on then, Mr. Dlamini. Please, Please, carry on. Deep breath. I'm taking a deep breath. Why are you taking a deep breath, Mr. Dlamini? How? I want you to take a deep breath. Okay, I took a deep breath. Have you kept your water with you? Because last time you said, you were drinking. You were drinking, on the mic. We're not allowed to do that, are we, Mr. Dlamini? How? I don't know that, but yeah, it is okay if you drink, but please. Don't ask me the question. I remember the question. What was the fan according to me? Yeah, I'll tell you. Okay, let me go back in time to when I was a little kid. There's this match on the telly. It was a match between Tottenham Hotspur and Man City. I think it was the first leg. No, that's the first leg, and all happening when you have got home and away matches, or first leg and second leg matches. But no, that time it was the FA Cup final, I should say. FA Cup final. It was the first match. I think that match ended 1-1, and then a few weeks later, was it a week later, they played the replay in which Spurs won 3-1, in which Ricky Villa scored that fantastic goal. And I can't tell a lie there. I started supporting Tottenham Hotspur then. It was not because of Ricky Villa. It was just because the entire Spurs team, in those days, Spurs played the way football is supposed to be played. It's supposed to be played in an attacking style. Everyone used to play 4-4-2 with wingers and right backs and left backs. Now have you heard the terms they've come up with? Mr. Khare, please, we are talking about fans, and here you have gone off on a tangent. You are digressing again on tactics. Don't worry, Mr. Khare Sensei, and whatever you are called. We will have many podcasts just on your behalf, on football tactics, on rugby tactics, whatever you want. But please, can you please maintain the line of questioning? Don't you mean line of answering? That is a question even I cannot answer. But you know what I mean. Yeah. Okay. Let me go back. So I became sorry, Mr. Dlamini, and sorry all you listeners out there. If you're not enjoying this, please do comment. That is what I am supposed to say. You're not supposed to say that, Khare Sensei. I'm sorry for that, Mr. Dlamini. Just carry on, Just carry on, Mr. Khare. Right, so what was I saying? So that's why I became a fan. I became a fan of Spurs, and that's part of what I'm gonna say. I became a fan, and you could say I was a fanatic. I was a fanatic for a long time, and these were threads which kept me embedded. How can you say embedded for threads? Don't you say embedded for something metal? Mr. Dlamini, now you've put a query in my mind. Can you say embedded for embroidery? Oh, should I say embroidery? Should I have said embroidered in my mind? That is a question. This podcast is asking more questions than we can answer. But you just carry on. I shouldn't have interrupted you. Carry on. That's it. So let me just say embedded. I can't say embedded. I'm sure I can. It was embedded in my mind as a thread. My past had the song is coming up. Have you heard it? Have you heard it, Mr.? I have heard it. I have got a sneak peek into that song. Yeah, it's autobiographical and it still has to be released. Well, if this podcast is released after the actual release of that video of the autobiographical song, then, well, how? I just heard your mobile bleeping. It can wait, Mr. Dlamini. Let's just finish this off, eh? You're right. Let us finish this off. Okay, you were saying. So, I've totally forgotten of why we interrupted ourselves just now. But let me just say that I became a Spurs supporter, and when we left Swaziland because of what happened to my father. Because of what happened to my father, I lost everything. I was an immature kid, so I didn't even know what I had. I had so much in Swaziland, I did not even know what I had. Honestly, I didn't. I was lost. How? I can feel your emotions, eh? Mr. Khare, I can feel your emotions. Please, let me get a handkerchief and wipe my tears. I am feeling your emotions. That's true. My dad passed away, and the threads which I had of that life, my mother really thought that we would just adjust to how it was in India. I don't know how my mum thought that. My mum, obviously, Mr. Dlamini, I have to say that everyone should read my memoirs, and there will be a few sneak peeks whenever I'm giving these podcasts. But all I can say is that India is a different culture. Whether you go to the north, south, east, or west, it might be different. The cultures are different, obviously, but as a whole, it's so different from how it was abroad, and that was in 1985. I was a little kid with a dodgy accent. How? I'm hearing that you have been telling people that you had a Swazi accent. Yeah, well, recently I just listened to some recordings of myself, and man, did I have a squeaky high voice. There's another thing I wanted to tell you, Mr. Dlamini. When you get older, you think of yourself in the past, and you think of yourself to having sort of the same voice you have now. You are right. I heard myself as well when I was a little kid, and I was shocked. I thought they were fooling me with that audio. You know what, Mr. Dlamini, generally some people do tend, half the people in this, I should say 80% of this world are fooling people all the time. They're telling lies all the time. Mr. Khare, you are once again digressing, and me being the moderator, you're making me digress as well. Let us just stick to the point of offense. Sorry. I apologize, Mr. Dlamini. Let's carry on. What was I saying? Yes, so the threads. Yes, the threads. All I'm talking about is in the end, I was so different from everyone. I was pushed into a school. You know what? Obviously, I'll go deep when the memoirs come out. You'll read about it more. But I was pushed into 4 or 5 schools. When I don't know how old I was. I just got into my teens when I came into India, and then I was pushed into a school in which everyone was different. I mean, I was already shy. Coming from outside India, I should have been bold. The problem is that part of being an Indian, of being shy, was an integral part of who I was. You won't believe it. I was shy. I mean, if there was a fist fight or I was having an argument with someone, I would be the first one to come out with fist flying. I mean, I've got stories of people I've punched over there, had really, really massive fights with. But, and that obviously short-tempered. But, how, Mr. Khare? I think I will hold this totem. This totem that Napi was playing with, I will hold this totem and knock it on your head every time you digress, eh? Every time I digress, you think that's right? How? I will tell you what is right, but you have to understand, these people, they're driving their cars listening to you, or maybe they're eating their lunches, they're eating their suppers, and they are listening to you, and they're pretending to listen to their wives, when she's talking, and whenever you start digressing and all, their emotions will show on their face, and then you don't want them to get beaten up by their wives. I don't want that to happen. They probably won't come attend the session the next day. How? That is also true. So can you carry on, Mr. What happened? I think I have some water. I will have a water break. Okay, just wait a moment. Now you are doing that, Mr. Dlamini. You're having a water break. How? I said it was allowed at the start, but this time I will pause it. I will pause the audio track. Did you see that, Mr. Khare? I paused and nobody can hear you go when you took a water break. Did you realize something, Mr. Dlamini? Everyone just heard you. You just said, you just glugged. Oh, you are right. Maybe I will be out of a job after this podcast. Maybe everyone will write in. Everyone? What do you mean everyone? Who's listening to this right now? How? At least the players who you are coaching, at least they will be forced to listen to this. I hope so as well. At least they will listen. I don't know who else will listen, but at least I'm getting it off my chest. That is right. Even I'm getting it off my chest. And can you carry on now, Mr. Khare? What was I saying? Threads. So, I needed something. I always look back, like, at Marvel Comics, DC, Judge Dredd. I can go on and on with these comics. I'm attached to drawing and cartoonry. I was attached to many things, and once I came to India, everything was just snatched away from me. Nobody messed with me, honestly. Nobody messed with me because I was psycho. I was totally psycho. I was so psycho that nobody was. I'm not going to tell you any stories now, obviously. Did say, Mr. Dlamini, I will leak a bit, but then how interesting will be the memoirs? Oh, Mr. Khare, I'm telling you, you can leak it. People will forget, and when your memoirs come out, if they want to read it, they will read it again. It will be as good as new. Mr. Dlamini, I'll tell you something. Not everyone has a memory like mine, where I put it in some corner of my mind and then I forget about it. And once that whatever comes up, I retrieve it again. Nobody's got. Some people have got a photographic memory, Mr. Dlamini. How? You are right. But maybe if it leaks, okay. I'll just tell you a story. Just one story. I won't. I'll just carry on with the how. Now you are very irritating. Do you want a break? Mr. Khare? No, let's just carry on. Sorry, everyone out there. Sorry, let's just carry on. Where was I? Okay, so I needed the thread. I hope everyone's understood about that. I am sure everyone understood about threads, blankets, and bed sheets as well. Mr. Dlamini, now you're just fooling around. How you have got it? I'm fooling around, but you carry on. So fans. What are fans? Like what I said, I was supporting Tottenham Hotspur since the age of 8 or 6. I was a fan. There was a reason to be a fan. It's a connection. So I had no clue that I won't be able to be connected. I was a fanatic, I won't be able to be connected to. I was planning on playing for Spurs, by the way. I wanted to play for Spurs. It was my dream to play for Spurs, and I was a fanatic. I was not only a fanatic, but I wanted to play for Spurs. How? We have got it. We know that you want to play for Spurs, and then I could have played for anyone. Just to be a professional, I just wanted to play. Look at these players complaining now. They're complaining that, we have to train in the morning for 3 hours. We have to train in the afternoon for an hour. The coaches called us for evening training for 2 or 3 hours. What? How? Even that I'm upset about it. They're earning, even those people who are not earning enough money, they're also training hard and they're training seriously. And these Premiership players, you're right, these Premiership players, how much do they complain? It's their job. Do they understand how much I train my Kafandra players? And do you know one thing, Mr. Dlamini? How? Tell me. This one thing I'm going to tell you is they pay Kafandra to get bullied and trained and everything. Are they complaining? No, they actually pay to get bullied, to get tortured on the ground. Something is not right in the world. Something is not right. And did you know one thing, Mr. Khare? And what is that, Mr. Dlamini? We have spoken probably 30 seconds of this question of what is a fan according to you, and I think 18 minutes you have spent on everything else. Then why don't you just take a break and leave this as the first episode? What do you say, Mr. Dlamini? How? Maybe you are right, and we'll see what feedback we get from this. Very true. Very true. You see, Mr. Smith says too true, doesn't he? You are right, and you are saying very true. very different. It seems already different to me. So let's just, why don't we just end it here, Mr. Smith, and bye-bye everyone. Here's Mr. Dlamini and here's me, Mr. Khare. How you have just taken over my podcast. How can you do this, Mr. Khare? I was just fooling around you. Carry on, fooling around with you. Carry on, Mr. Dlamini. How? Here's me saying Salagashle to everyone and Mr. Khare saying also goodbye.